So what are you doing right now?
Well, it's a technique that I learned from my good friend and comrade in horticulture, Andy Sloss, and it's called bare rooting your high quality trees before you plant. Now when this tree arrived and you were helping, it's so heavy there's no way you can lift it. So one of the benefits of bare root planting high quality trees, or any tree really, is that by the time I finish this, and we will show you that I can lift this up pretty much by myself. Now I'm a bit older than my good helper, so he may have to help me, but I'm pretty sure I can lift it up by myself, giving us the option of being able to move this specimen quality tree anywhere in our landscape. So give me a few minutes. Sometimes, this is all clay that's coming off, okay, and I'll be able to move it, and I can explain the horticultural benefits of doing this when we replant, which essentially is going to use the native soils. The soils that are on site will re-emerge into its existing root ball system, therefore giving it a much guaranteed actually chance of success, and better success, because it's no longer sitting in like a clay pot. Most of the time when you put in your trees, or all the time, in the clay without doing anything to them, and in the burlap, they're essentially sitting there for years and years and years in a clay pot. So these roots are going to be happy, and we're going to show you in just a few minutes. Thank you. I mean, honestly, would you like to grow up in clay? Can't breathe. Some take longer than others. This one actually so far is going quite well. But I would say, what would you say, Justin? Maybe 300 pounds, that tree?
Say about so, yeah.
And plus it was wet. It was raining all night.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're basically just about done here. And this is one beautiful, clean root ball. I mean, it is so happy. Billy, I am so happy. I can breathe. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. And believe me, that's something I don't hear from anyone very often, especially my ex-wives. But that's another story. I don't think I ever really gave them this much attention. Okay, so now, but I am going to impress any of you girls in the audience, because I'm going to show you how I'm able to lift up a 300-pound tree. Okay? Just hope I can do it. Pull my pants up a bit. Look at that! And now we can get this into any position that we want. Okay, so as you see, this tree can now be placed anywhere we'd like on site. So it's going to go in this zone. But for now, I'm going to put it down to the side, and I'm going to have my good helper prep the hole, and then we'll continue on. I'll show you the technique. Okay.
And then our mulches will come up to here, allow us to build a water well, and the tree will be really happy. I mean, not you, but just...
You want more out now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We're just trying to find the perfect positioning for the tree.
I want to get the main branches away from growing over the house, the initial
Yes.
form branches, so that we get a canopy over top.
That's
And
right.
You'll notice that they're pretty stable.
It's very stable already, and look how it's already adding a fantastic sense of scale to the cabin, something that was needed near the home. Right.
So, right?
Yes, all hoses are going to bust. All right, so now we are, that's because they have only initial pressure here. Okay, so we're now going to start adding some of the planting medium back to the hole. A little bit more on this side. And by the way, this tree is an Acer Harvest Orange, so it will get a fantastic orange in the fall.
Acer palmatum.
Acer palmatum Harvest Orange. Okay, so I think we should get some water in there.
You know what is interesting about that particular tree is it was discovered in Pitt Meadows or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Japanese maples is that they're really promiscuous.
Well,
Genetically. They'll
Well, that's why I chose her. I mean it.
they're very easy to seed. They set seed everywhere here.
nice.
Okay, so important. You don't want to be blowing it apart, the root ball apart anymore, but you do want to have a decent flow. And the objective is, now, and this is the most important part of the process in terms of for the tree. Kink-free hoses. They've never built them.
Especially on this site.
So, the issue here is we want to wash, because we've got an exposed root ball and it's wide open in there, we want to wash all of the soils down into, all the fines down into the bottom of this root ball. The beauty of using water rather than foot pressure is that the water will take all of the fines and leave them right beside the root hairs. And as the water leaves, those fines will suck right up to the root hairs, so we'll have 100% or close to contact with these root hairs. This is an opportunity also to spread things out a little bit if you want. But that involves plunging, and that's why I take the head off this hose, and I just use a flow of water, and I plunge between the roots like this. The objective is to have no soil, initially no soil sitting on the surface.
And no air.
And no air inside, and that's the biggest piece. So it means making this into a soup. It goes without saying, if you make this into a soup, do not touch it with your feet or any other tools until that water's all gone. Otherwise you'll change the soil.
That's right.
You'll damage the soil.
And a lot of our planting is never done if we can help it in rainstorms, wet soil. It just,
Excessively wet is bad
yeah,
for soil.
it makes it anaerobic. It's a nightmare.
And you can see as I plunge how deep this soil gets. There's a hole right there. See this, folks? You probably saw this here first.
And we haven't lost a tree yet doing it this way.
No, we've had some really interesting experiences with trees that looked like they were lost and weren't.
That's right. Well, last season was a little unpredictable.
Yeah. This, I've just tried to save a beautiful little Cornus Cusa that was thrown in a ditch with very little root ball, and I'll bet I have saved it
Nice.
just by bare rooting it and replanting.
And another benefit of this technique is that really you don't need any staking
Oh, I'll show you that after.
after. It's really
Brilliant. The tree, once moved in this manner, once it's in the ground and the water's disappeared and all of the soils have settled around the roots, this tree will look and feel as if it had always been here, as if it grew here initially. And that's the beauty of
well,
bare
it's
rooting.
going to feel better than it ever has before.
Well,
Honestly.
The other advantage of doing this is, in the event that you have soils that differ greatly in terms of nutrient quality, and that often happens because the clays which they're grown in the nursery hold a lot of nutrients. And that can, in certain circumstances, mean that the roots will stay in the cavity in the space that you dug the hole for in the root ball. And they won't move into the native soils because the native soils don't hold very much for them. In this case, the tree has no choice but to use native soils because it's in 100% native soil.
Nice. Well, planting in the clay and burlap is essentially just putting it like a pot into the...
It can be a real hazard, and it can be a hazard in certain soils in particular. So, in this case, and it has been proven that you can do this with the pressure washer. You can
We've done
use
that.
the pressure washer on the root ball.
This
and-
ball didn't need one. It just came apart very nicely.
Well, plus we've got municipal pressure here, which
Yes.
gives us a 50 psi or 150 plus psi. Now, what I've got here is what I call a slurry, and that slurry is just all of the fine particles of the soil turned into a soup. Once I've got sufficient water on the top that I know there's a high probability that I've got all the voids, and I'll be able to tell that because if I plunge and oxygen, a bubble comes out, which is highly unlikely now, then we know we've got a void. So at this point, we just leave it. You'll notice there's water everywhere around it. What we want it to do now is to have all of these nutrients, or all of these soils, drain of water and have the soils move right up to the roots.
Yeah, they get pulled in. All right, well, we'll leave this to sit. And Diesel, you just watch that for us. Oh, have a scratch. Okay, so, as you notice, we have let the water drain into the planting medium, the soil. And we're just about ready. Okay, so the water has filtrated through. And so now I'm going to add another layer of planting medium, soil, and then we will repeat the process. Okay, well, it's the end of another long day in the spring season. This is how it ended up. This is now a day after, late in the day, from when we did our bare root plant. And as you can see, that our Acer Palmatum Harvest Red, orange actually, is not flagging. It's perfectly healthy, and it has not required a stake. And we've also put in our companion plants in that zone. So we have a lot of saxifrage and Rudbeckia and Rhodo. But stay tuned, there'll be more updates as this project comes to completion.